Oh.
Nope, I got it. I had to click that thing.
All right. So before we start, I am Daniela Saioni. I am the founder of this group, which is essentially for the comedy writing alumni and our friends for my various film and TV courses. Keisha has taken both of the courses and she's wonderful. I met her. We're going to talk about how we met, so I'll save that. But it wasn't that long ago. I was looking at my emails. I met her in late November 2019. And look at her now. She's like one of the superstars of the program. So congratulations, Keisha. And for those who don't know, Keisha wrote a very successful pilot based on her life called We Good. And we're going to hear more about it too. And she's placed in and won several awards, including We Screenplay Diverse Voices 2022 and also Female Eye Best Fresh Voice and so many more. She's in development with it. She'll let us know what she can say about it. And she just got signed to 3 Arts Management. And I skipped over, she also wrote a feature called Yo, We're Dying, which is also hilarious. And I still owe her a live read through for that. But in the meantime, she placed in the Micki Moore Residency and she's at TIFF today. Okay, Keisha, did I leave anything out that you wanted to say?
No, that's great. That's great. Nice summation.
It's a lot for 2 years. Like, congratulations.
It's too funny. I was just on the way here. I came with my friend Tanya, and it's really surreal because it's literally just a culmination of just planting seeds and just walking away from it. Like it's literally like, okay, that's not going to go anywhere. Let's keep going. What's next? What's next? What's next? Kind of thing. And just everything has just been blooming at the same time, literally. You know what I mean? So
that's the very definition of manifestation. I'm a little bit woo-woo about this stuff, and not everybody's woo, but like active manifestation, when you set an intention and then you walk away from it, and then everything just starts coming to you.
Yeah. It's literally how it is. You know, someone's like, you got to teach me how to do. Sam was actually telling me, you got to teach me how to do the stealth thing. And I was like, there's no stealth. Like, I'm not that mysterious. I just have done something, then I forgot about it, and then it comes back. I'm like, oh shit, that worked. Oh, okay. I'm doing something else. Oh shit, that worked. Okay, come on. Like, it's literally been that, you know, obviously with hard work too, but it's like once you put it in the universe, and I'm kind of woo-woo about it too. So it's like it just happens. Like, I just feel like with that alongside hard work, the universe is really just conspiring. It's conspiring for me this time. You know what I mean? I got a long list, but I mean, so far it's been checking it off. So,
oh my God. It's like your people find you. It's like the right people find you. And you know, the biggest, I think 3 Arts is the biggest management company for comedy right now. So talk about the right people finding you. I think that's awesome.
Oh my God. I'm so excited to talk about that because it literally, again, since I'm in this really surreal place, I'm trying to think, okay, what are the steps? Because especially going to, I want to be as helpful as possible. So I really am open to like any questions based on what I've done, like even after that, because I just want to be very transparent, especially as I remember them, because my memory is shit. So please ask me now. But yeah, I was really tracking that whole thing. So it really started, well, one of the starting points was the Women in Film and Television, where I met you. And I remember there was the mentorship program. That was the whole purpose. Like, I know they have a whole whack of other programs, but that was my main purpose for enrolling into that program. And, you know, you get to pick 3 mentors. And Daniela, you were one of my mentors that I picked. And you have to pick a blurb of each one, and you got to put them in order. So, of course, you know, who's your that you really want, and, you know, second and the last one kind of thing. So I was really crossing my fingers. So it was like the jackpot when they said, okay, yeah, you got your first pick. I'm like, yes. And then I met you. And I remember one of the things you told me, you're looking at my stuff. You're like, yeah, you need me. You need me. I'm like, all right. I don't know if you remember saying that to me. You're like, yeah, this is a good thing. You need me. This is it. I'm like, and I was like, okay, good shit. Like, this is the way we're doing it right now.
Oh, no. What I actually said, Keisha, was okay. I don't know. I'm swearing in my own YouTube page.
Oh yes, let me stop. Okay.
I'm doing it too, but I distinctly remember saying, holy shit, you have found exactly the right mentor.
Yes. That is more. See, I knew I would paraphrase it incorrectly, but that was exactly it. And, you know, so from that time, so the connection with you, then, you know, doing both the feature and the pilot, of course, even the pilot I was developing beforehand, but, you know, us going back and forth. And just, again, I know we're getting sick of hearing it, but that whole creating genuine relationships, you know what I mean? Like, we kicked it off, we had jokes, you know what I mean? I came in and I helped with one of your classes. So like, it was literally just like, okay, this is cool. And especially, I like to always say to people, like, I never went to film school. I don't have that network that comes along with stuff like that. So I was like, oh, I met someone who likes this. Okay, that's cool. Oh, I met someone else. Oh, that's cool. So it's kind of like, it's literally genuine connections, no expectations, because everybody's busy. Everybody got their goals. And if your goals align with each other, it's going to align. It's just going to happen that way.
I had expectations for you. I always had expectations. Maybe I'm glad I didn't put the pressure on you. I'm glad you didn't feel that pressure. But when we met, and I do want to talk about that day because it was so faithful. It was so faithful. I actually had, so WIFT assigns you a mentee, and they had written me that day saying, actually, would you be willing to have 2 mentees? Because someone really is really interested in your comedy writing, and we really want you two to be together. And I was like, sure. Because I usually, listen, truth be told, I always have like 8 mentees in any given year. I'm always,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, of course, like party, you know, more the merrier. And then I met you. I was looking around the party for you. I was like, she looks like a Keisha. And then I was like, are you Keisha? And she's like, yes. And so we talked, and I was like, oh my God. And obviously my other mentee, also fantastic. She had written a direct for the future, but like, I was just like, this is correct. This is what I've always wanted in a mentee. Not that, you know, my other mentees are great, but you were exactly the reason that I actually created From Shtick to Script. And I know I originally did it for stand-ups, but I also did it for people with a voice, with a comedy voice, who just wanted. So I was like, okay, this is gonna work. And it was so anyways, I just always remember looking into your eyes across the table that day going, I didn't know how long it would take for you to get where you are today, but I knew it was going to happen. I mean, this is fast. This is a fast trajectory.
It's you know, so funny, and it definitely is fast, but it's fast with intention. Like that, I feel like I really want to say, like, it's not like this overnight kind of crap. You know what I mean? Like, I did put in the work. I did do the drafts. I did, and even though you were not, there wasn't pressure. But I mean, when somebody, and that's another thing that I'm excited to get to the point where I'm able to do it backwards the same way. When you put expectations on someone, they're like, oh, I have to live up to it now. You know what I mean? Like, you were very, like, I send you something, you're like, yeah, it's great. It's not the best thing you could do though. Like, we go deeper. And I was like, oh, that's a really nice way to tell me to fuck off. Okay, let me go back. Let me do this shit again. But I mean, it just helped again. And it really made me even more open to getting notes from like people in general, because that's a whole process. That is definitely a skill to give notes, but it's also a skill to be able to ingest it too. Like, it's both. Like, once you start knowing how to do it, like, I mean, that really opened up my writing and my revisions and my drafts, kind of doing that. But yes, so that me with you, so our relationship, going through the courses, you as a mentor, going back and forth, you red taping the shit at my scripts. You know, no, it's fabulous. It's fabulous. So back and forth, so that, and then it's so funny, and this is what I was telling my friend yesterday. I remember you were reading the feature that got me into the industry pass for TIFF now, Yo We're Dying, which I wrote in your feature class. You said to me, okay, so this is great. So I need someone Black to read this. You need someone Black to read this. And I started laughing. I'm like, okay, that's like, no, you're really like, yeah, that's great. You need a Black person to read this. And that's when you hooked me up with Sam. And Sam and I.
So good. Yeah.
So if you're following, I'm laying down the tracks to 3 arcs. So now I linked up with Sam. Sam's a freaking joke. Like, she's wonderful. Gave me notes. We clicked it off. And that's the thing about with genuine connections. You know, you pass it along so that I could have someone from a Black perspective read my script, and then she ends up being mad cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally like, okay, if you read the script or not, we're gonna hang out, and we did. Literally. And then, so Sam and I are still cool, get going back and forth. Then Sam introduced me to Jay, a CBC exec. Yes, they just wanted a just all, you know, BIPOC writers. They want to know who we are, kind of thing. And any opportunity that I have for someone to know about me and read my stuff, I'm gonna jump at, because again, I'm kind of, it might not seem like, but I'm kind of antisocial. I don't go out to the events. I go to the places I would meet other writers. So I'm like, oh, this is an open call for me to meet people in the industry. I'm about it. Had a first Zoom meeting. Again, genuine connection. And Jay just ended up being mad cool. So whether or not Jay read my stuff, we're going to hang out. We did. Like, again, genuine connection. Just like, okay, this is happening kind of thing. Then I sent, so now I'm fast tracking this whole thing, but basically Jay read my We Good pilot, you know, obviously was very supportive with it. And then end up talking to Trevor from 3 Arts to say, you know, I have this person, you want to read the script or whatever, sent to Trevor, never heard from him for like months at a time. Again, planting seeds, walking away from it. No expectation. I'm like, oh, thanks for passing along. Great. Okay, when are we going to hang out? When are we going to get drunk? You know what I mean? Like, it's like on to the next thing, you know, and working on some other stuff. Then I finally met with Trevor probably, oh geez, I'm guessing maybe in July before our first, he's like, you know, I read it, loved it, love to get together for like, you know, general kind of thing. I'm like, no problem. We met, had some coffee, great conversation. That was it. Just conversation about like, what am I doing? What are you doing? He's like, what he likes, blah, blah, blah. Again, you meet with people, you end up, you know, just having a good time with a fellow creator kind of thing. And that was it. And then I get an email from him August 17th, I think it was, or so, along those lines, saying, you know, let's get together again. Like, it was through his assistant, sorry, not through Trevor, through his assistant. Said, you know, Trevor wants to get together just to follow up from the last meeting. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And I'm like, does he want me to meet? He's like, oh no, just a Zoom. And I'm just like, oh, this feels like a breakup video. Like, he doesn't want to meet anymore. It's just a Zoom call. Oh, okay, whatever. Met with Trevor. He's like, yeah. So just, you know, want to work with you. Like, I've already like started pushing your stuff. Like, let's do this. Like, that's it. So like, oh yeah, that's it. And I was like, you know, really, I'm like, oh my gosh, Trevor, this is so great. You know, it's really great to work with you. It's really good honor, whatever. And as soon as I got on the phone with him, like, I cried.
Yes.
I cried. And then I messaged you. I'm like, Daniela!
I cried when you told me your news. It's like amazing. It's great.
Yes.
It's the best. It's just the best thing. The best, because I had very specifically predicted you're going to win a big award at Female Eye.
Yes.
I thought you'd win Best Script, but you won Best Fresh Voice, which is kind of even better.
It's crazy.
I predicted you'd win Diverse Voices, and you're like, okay,
you did.
Okay, sure. And you won.
2 for 2. 2 for 2.
You were just, and then you placed in all those other contests too that I knew were right for you, like the Screencraft comedy and like these were all, I could see your script going there. So I had made all these predictions and I knew you were going to get somewhere big. I could never have predicted 3 Arts, but that's the level I saw you at. I just couldn't have specifically predicted that. That's incredible.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. But again, it's like, nothing stealth. It's just planting all these seeds. It's just like, okay, see how that works and just keep on going. Because even in between the time before I saw Trevor, I was working on another pilot, you know, before even the second meeting, you know, I was getting into putting together being part of another writer groups in New York, you know, to really flesh out myself. So you're continually just saying, so when I don't have to get ready when the opportunity comes, I'm just already ready kind of thing. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. That's what's working so far.
This is a really great takeaway for the audience. I haven't looked down at the comments, but I'm sure that is helping people because it can feel, you know, we're sort of cut off here in Canada from the big wide world. I really want to talk about that. I want to talk about the reality of being a Canadian screenwriter, and if it factors into it being a woman of color in Canadian screenwriting. I don't know if that factors into how you are experiencing the industry, probably. But how has the experience of the industry here, because you're so welcomed in the US, how have you felt in Canada?
Well, and it's so funny. I don't think I think you would find other writers saying the same story I am. So I don't think I'm unique in the sense of like, if I haven't, like, aside from the fresh new voice for Female Eye, that's the only Canadian recognition that I've had. And I have done all the ones that you know of in terms of submitting my scripts, you know, in terms of like for table reads, for mentorship, besides women in film and television, obviously. You know, I've done them all. Any one that you can mention, I've submitted, because I would think that would be the closest path to getting where I need to go. And not even qualify. And, you know, and it's, I don't know. I have thoughts about why that is. But I guess we could think about even Drake, you know, Drake had to go to the States to be recognized. I am not Drake. but it's like, I've always come into this knowing that I'm like, oh yeah, when the States, picks me up, then, most likely I'll start getting some more tread here, which sucks because the creators are here. The content is here. Like,
The stories
I love
are here too.
the stories are here. I've been fortunate to read some, a whole bunch of other scripts too. And I've slowly been able to be exposed to other Canadian writers. And I'm like, what the shit? So like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, you know what I mean?
So much talent here. So much talent here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen, I experienced the exact same thing. Female Eye and WIFT have always been supportive, but like almost nothing else. No one else but in the States, it's like, come on down. They don't care how old we are. They don't care that we're women. They don't, they don't care. They're like, original stories. Can you write? Come on down.
Yes.
So it's not, I don't know. I don't want to slam Canada, but it is an experience that many of us are noticing. So I just want to put it out there to not give up. If Canada rejects you or doesn't welcome you in, it's not the only country in the world. In fact, it's not even a huge industry. We love each other. There's a network of incredible writers here, like really just in Canada, how wonderful people are. But that doesn't mean they're going to staff you, or it doesn't mean they're going to
exactly.
Doesn't matter. There's people in other places for that.
Right. And I think even especially as Black female writers, they've already, again, it's like only a few of us at a time. If there's already a group, only a few of us at a time. And I'm like, okay, maybe once they swap out, then we'll swap you in, but we only got a few select few that we're always going to go to. And maybe that's just the nature of the industry, right? It's just like, we already have, we have our certain people that we go to all the time. Whether or not someone emerging like myself to come into that would be really difficult, So, and
I hope they got rid of this, but they used to have guidelines for emerging that you had to be a certain age. I hope they got rid of that, but it was like,
oh, that's hilarious. I disqualify already. I would disqualify. Like, there better not be an age. You know what I mean? But
There used to be. I hope they got rid of that, because that is downright. That's just.
Oh yeah. Like, I could be emerging at 60. Okay, like it doesn't really matter. Like it just I hope not.
Let's talk about process just a little bit, because you came in with talent. Like, you just came in with talent. Like, as much as
Daniela,
there's issues in the pilot that are easy to fix, you came in with the talent already, obviously. So, but like, did anything about the process and you don't have to, it could be nothing. I'm just personally curious if anything specifically helped you, and if it did, like, what was your favorite takeaway for people?
So definitely having the structure helped, because I didn't have any structure. Like, you just have, I think, I can't remember if you said it or another one of my mentors said it, but it's like, structure can be taught, right?
Yeah,
it's probably it. Look at Daniel. It was me.
Well, we might have both said it. It's a true story.
No, seriously, like, structure can be taught. So like, really focusing on that voice that you have, the stories that only you could tell. I mean, if anything, I tell people all the time, I feel like I'm a cheater. I'm like, I just talk about what I've been through and what I know. You know what I mean? And I know there will be a situation where I'll be challenged by talking about something I don't know. And I mean, I can't wait for that time. You know what I mean? When someone says, oh yeah, let's, maybe write a sci-fi or whatever like that. And I'm so excited for those opportunities. But for right now, my cheat note is to write what I know and write the stories that no one else can tell because they're not me. So that's first. Structure, definitely, the whole Save the Cat hero's journey in terms of providing that structure was paramount in organizing thoughts, for sure. Like, I needed that. I definitely took on your, I also went back to Second City for like a scene structure and all that other stuff. That was very helpful too, because again, it's just like you're writing and just running to a destination, which was, I think, like the feature for sure. You were dying at the beginning. I was like, I love the ending. Let me just run through 60 pages to get to it. You know what I mean?
We talked a lot about scene work. That's right. We did talk a lot about your scene work. Mainly my note was go farther. And like, like, kudos to you. Half the Canadians don't take note. Go farther. It's comedy. Go farther. Yeah.
That, honestly, the whole note thing, and you're not the only one who says that in terms of people's willingness to ingest notes. That boggles me because my first draft, oh my God, if it's somewhere around, if anybody finds it, burn it, or use it as a ransom note to me. I will pay you whatever to get rid of it.
I still have it, I'm sure.
Oh my goodness, just send me your invoice. Because like the notes, every time where I've gotten notes and been able to ingest it, the next draft, my mind is blown. My mind is like, oh, this is so much better. This is so much better. And the thing that sucks, it continues to be that way. So it continually to be a work in progress until it's on TV. It can continue to be a work in progress. I think that's another thing that shocked me too about writing. It's never done. It's never done until it's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely that ingestion of notes. It still boggles me that I hear people like, oh, not a lot of people like notes. I'm like, notes are exactly the reason why my scripts are at the stage that they are right now.
Oh,
like it really is. It really is. But oh my God, what was my point? I lost my point.
Well, what I wanted to say was though, it's your personal.
But yeah, in terms of what I will say.
Story. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I was just thinking to a mistake that I made that I was able to go back to that really helped my writing is that I think it was for my first, yes, I could tell the story. I'm allowed. Yes. Okay. So We Good, it's option right now. It's in development with Good Question. Very happy to be with them. Yes, very happy. But it's my second option. So the first time I was optioned was, again, a great experience. But I found that in terms of that relationship, I was continuing to tweak my script to go along with what the producer at the time thought, who we'd be pitching it to would like, right? So I kept on tweaking it. Again, that exercise of being able to take notes and regurgitate them and, give them person what they want. I mean, it's a great exercise. So I still think it was a good experience in that sense. But my mistake is that I continued, the more I did it, the more I went away from where I initially wanted it to go. And I don't blame anybody but myself. Like that's what I made that choice to do that. So imagine I put that script, submitted that script to We Screenplay, did not win. And after the option ran out, I said, screw it. I'm going to go back and write it the way I would have wanted to write it, regardless of anybody. And I still kept structure in mind, but I remember I went back and said, yeah, that's not me. That's me. Let me go back to me. Let me go back to making myself laugh as I'm writing it. Let me go back to oh my God, I'm really smiling at this. And that is the script. Oh my God, I'm getting teary-eyed. That is the script that won Fresh New Voices. That is the script that won Screenplay. So if anything, I love to talk about that story because it was definitely a mistake that I did where I was tweaking it, but I was tweaking it away from who I am. And that's not the script that got me where I was going.
Oh,
back
that's
to
an
who I was.
amazing story.
Right?
No, amazing. Because I read the before and I read the after. I didn't read that middle period when you were in that option because you were in an option. I didn't want to, but holy, I'm so sorry. That sounded very
No, I know.
Holy. But anyway, really, really good anecdote. That's an amazing story. So we as writers, we do have to take some ownership. We can't just, even though we are collaborating at all times, collaborating with the audience, with the studio, with the production company, with our actors, with our director. At the same time, we have to hold on to that creative id that keeps our project what it is. And congratulations for learning that on your very first show.
It was crazy. It was definitely a screw it moment. You know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, well that ran out, and I was still hopeful. I'm like, okay, another opportunity to come. But I'm like, wouldn't it be great if I won with the one that represents me the most? Wouldn't that be so satisfying? Even though if it's still got greenlit in that version that I was working with that producer of, I still would have been happy. I mean, come on. When you think of me, I'm a dog. I'm like a dog in the backseat of the car with the head out the window. I'm loving my life. I'm loving it. I literally think of that as my life. I'm like, I'm just a dog, with my tongue out. I'm loving it. So I still would have been happy. But I said, after all that, I was like, you know what? It'd be so gratifying if I got something done based on being completely me, completely going back to what I know as me, and that's the one, that's when the accolades came in. That's when the rewards came in. That's the version that Trevor read. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
It's something. So
Oh, and because I get asked about contests all the time, do you think they had any bearing? Did they think they had any impact on your trajectory at all?
Oh, so I feel like they would have more impact if I wasn't doing other things, ignoring that they exist. That's the thing. Because even when my first option, I got that by just, actually, no, I got that through, I think it was Start With 8. Start With 8 was the program on Twitter.
Oh,
and
right.
I remember, yes. And I remember enlisting in that, and that's through that I met my producer. My first producer to get the first option agreement. So it's like, even though I was doing the contest and stuff like that, if I was not doing anything else but contests, then I think they would have had more, they would have helped me more. But by the time I got to reaping the benefits of contests, I'm like, okay, well, now I have management now. now I've got an option agreement. So it's like, there wasn't, except I used it more for like, okay, now I'm networking. Now I'm just knowing more people in the industry kind of thing. But as for having something specific that they can help me with, they couldn't help me right now, just because I acted like I submit and I continue on and just act like they don't exist. And I continue thinking like, well, I don't have any contest to help me. What can I do on my own kind of thing?
Oh,
so
that's a
the
great
thing.
mindset. That's a great mindset. I personally, for me, I needed the contest because I was getting like no validation from Canada. So I'm like, I just need validation from somewhere.
Right. No, and that's the thing. Like, well, that's definitely why I applied in the first place. Even when I like didn't win the screenplay, I think it was like quarterfinal list, I was ecstatic. I'm like, okay, that means somebody read it, somebody moved it out of the gas pile that they had. So I mean, I'm like, okay, so I could write. That's great. So that, in terms of that was paramount too. That encouraged me to say, okay, so I didn't win it, so what do I have to improve on? So that in that sense was very helpful in that sense, because I wouldn't get that by myself.
Great mindset, great work ethic. This is a question I ask everybody because people have different thoughts on it. Do you think comedy is a learnable skill, or are you born with it?
I think it's learnable. Because I just feel like we all have our bullshit. we all, even the most boring person, you know, you use either humor or sarcasm or something to deal with tragedy that we all deal with. You know what I mean? Like, I think even the most person in the most privileged position can find comedy in whatever that they've been through. You know what I mean? Like, I do think it's a learnable skill. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and in terms of your voice will still be unique to yourself, right? But in terms of comedy learnable, I would agree it's a learnable skill.
Or maybe I don't know. I do believe it is learnable, obviously, because I teach it. I wouldn't be teaching it if I thought it was possible. But at the same time, there are people who walk in like you and like, she's hilarious. Like there's just people with that, right? Which you can see, okay, put that.
Because my life's messed up, Danielle. My life is a comedy, right? So,
It's true. Like it for those there's two ways to go with pain, I guess. You can let it mess up the rest of your life, or you can use it as material, right?
Right. I was in the actual general meeting with a Canadian agent, and she described me so well. I'm like, oh, so you're gonna have to invoice me for that one. I'm gonna have to put that in my bio. But she was like, you have a knack for taking tragedy and finding the comedy in it. And I was like, oh, that's true. I'm like, she's like, see, that's your tagline. I'm like, I'm keeping it, invoice me. That's great. You know what I mean? But literally that, yes.
But I mean, that's literally what the best comedy writers in the world do. That's what they do. That's and we see, it's universal. Yes, it's your specific story as a Jamaican Canadian mom of two, but it's so universal. You hear the laughter in the room. Like I was there at the live read. What a great live read you had at Female.
That was amazing. Oh my gosh. I literally floated out of that room. I have never had that. That was an amazing experience. Oh my goodness. Female eye.
Female eye. I tell everyone, it's funny. It was a fluke that I was there. They asked me last minute, do you want to go and I didn't even see it. Like you were in it, but I didn't see if you were on the day that I was. It was like fate again. like
Yeah.
fate. That's what
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Are you, before we go to questions,
Sure.
first of all, what's one piece of advice? I think you kind of gave it, but I'll have you, what's one piece of advice you would give to any new writer?
Oh my gosh, any new writer, just do it and forget about it. Like, I think, and that's what's even, I'm really, oh, I don't want to get teary-eyed. I'm really grateful for where I am right now, but I'm scared to be tied to an outcome. I just want to be tied to the journey, because that right now is just so gratifying. The outcome I have no control over, but I mean the journey and the pieces that I'm doing right now, that's probably the most control that I have. So think about that with your writing. I have control over making sure that my writing gets better. I have control over, what I talk about. I have control of what inspires me to write about, inspires me to research about. Like, those are things I have control over. And I just think that we should focus more on that than the outcome of, like, I want to get an agent, I want to get a manager, I get this, because I know I wanted these things, but it literally came, I'm gonna get emotional. It literally came, it came to me, just based on being happy of the steps that I was taking along the way. You know what I mean? And learning. I was ecstatic to be in your courses. I was ecstatic to, read a book that someone told me. I was ecstatic to just, have people read my stuff. Just little stuff made me happy. And little stuff continues to make me happy. So when this big stuff comes, it's just, it's part of all the little pieces that you put together. So I'd say, get out of the cave of writing. That's one thing that I did. You're always by yourself. Share your writing. You know what I mean? Take those rejections. They're not rejections. They're invitations to grow. That's all they are. Because I like to talk about my rejections more than my wins sometimes. I like to tell everybody, I'm like, oh, thank you for congratulating me, but let me show you these losses, because I want you to be realist. I want to be realistic of how I got here. I don't want you to think that, oh my God, brilliant, whatever. Not discounting my work, but I like to talk about my losses too, because it's the ones that you have to move through to get where you need to go. And then just writing again, take notes, taking notes, the art form, and even get into writer's rooms so that you could give notes, because that's an art form too, which I'm starting to learn myself, like, how do I give them something not prescriptive, but helps them to keep their voice, but helps them to go in a different direction, but they got to keep their voice. I don't want to tell them how I would write, kind of thing. And then also that exercise, how to ingest notes, that's an art form too, because sometimes you take notes. I've sent back scripts after notes, and I didn't even implement all the notes, but because I know where they were going, they're like, oh, this is great. And I'm like, oh, so I caught what they're going on. So yeah, that's a long answer, but I hope I answered.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. No.
Yeah.
You're also helping me validate, like, my process in writer's room, because part of that process is helping teach people to give notes as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think it's important. Yeah, it's important. I
Oh,
love
absolutely.
that you were able to return the favor for me. You gave one of my students notes on his feature, Shay.
I was so excited about that opportunity. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, I got to do Daniela well. I'm like, what would Daniela do? I'm like, okay, all right. But does Daniel, okay, what would Keisha do? Okay, but he's got to keep his voice. Okay, I got it. Yes, I'm so, again, the art form of giving notes is equal to how to ingest them. So I was happy for that exercise. So yeah.
Oh no, your notes were fantastic, by the way. Just like perfect. I thought perfect. Okay, are you allowed to talk about what's coming? I know you don't want to think about what's coming up next because it's outcomes, but
don't want to think about what's coming. Yes. So, well, I think what you know already. So I have We Good is options with Good Question. Every time I see that, they're like, what? I'm like, no, that's the actual name of the company. It's called Good Question. So I'm very excited with them. We've had a couple creative meetings, which I've worked on my story Bible. I hate the story Bible. that whole selling it. They're like, it's just a script. They're like, no, like you need to actually sell it. So been working on that. We had our first pitch deck meeting yesterday during TIFF. So that was awesome. So the hope is to have something available by October, first week in October. So pretty quick. And then from there, they already have like a field out we're going to pitch it to. So I'm excited to be pitching it in October, hopefully. So
Oh my God. Yeah, I hope
What
I hope
happened?
you get to be in the room because it's so you, this show. I hope you get to be, I mean, I know it's ultimately up to
Yes.
them, but
It's ultimately up to them. I'm confident that they'll let me in the room, kind of thing, because I did it with my other when I first got an option with other producer, and I just want to get it greenlit, right? So if it's better for me to not be like, I don't have attachments, but I feel like I add to the room in terms of like showing where my head is at. So I would be surprised if I'm not in the room. So I'm prepping myself to
you're
fit.
value added, definitely value added.
Yeah.
I think in a pitch room for anyone
Yeah.
who's watching. Let her in. But
Yeah.
Totally. No, but you have a really good mindset regardless. You're like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and whatever's
It's meant to be.
Project.
Exactly. And then about 3 R's. That's the new development with management. That so like ecstatic about that. But yeah, other than that, what's coming again? Like I said, that train is on its way. So I'm working on now going back to Yo We're Dying and making sure that's polished. I have a couple network of writers that I'm kind of banging scripts with as well too. So I'm going to polish that as well. And then I have a dramedy feature that I submitted for another kind of mentorship writers group, and that's like in Atlanta. So I'm going to be working on that. So while that train is going with my project We Good, I'm working on 2 other scripts. And once that's done, I'll be working with another script. So it's like, again, just like, okay, so that's out of my control, or at least that's on a trajectory and structure. So let me do this one. So that's kind of what I've been distracting myself with.
And it would be like a big loss if this happened, but also a big win for you. Are you moving to LA?
It's so funny. It's so funny. That I'm so ready to leave, and that's nothing to do with like shitting on Toronto or anything. But it's like the world is so big. You know what I mean? Why not? My kids are big, even though I feel like those rugrats come with me. I can't get rid of them. But it's like no one's been pushing me to do so yet. I'm like, I'm so ready. Like they're just like, it's not necessary right now. I'm like, So
it's going to happen very fast. It's going to happen very fast because I know you want to get staffed in writers' room, and they all 100% of the meetings I had with We Screenplay said, if you want to get staffed in a TV writers' room, you have to live in LA. I mean, that might have changed a little bit since because
they're doing a lot of virtual rooms, and so that's still a thing. So I don't know. But no, I'll let it happen.
Yeah, exactly. No. Okay, let's see what I have to look on the cell phone. So
no problem.
Any questions? Daniela, so nice to join you and Keisha live today. You're both lovely, talented, and beautiful superstars. Keep shining. Natasha Bromfield, amazing. Jill, such an important lesson. Thank you, Keisha. What is the program on Twitter called again?
Oh, yes. Start with 8. So if you go with that hashtag, hold on a sec. I want to be accurate. Let me look. There's actually 2 programs. So one was Start with 8 North. So that's specifically for Canadian writers. And that is how I believe it was through that hashtag. That's where I found my first producer when I got a first option. I want to make sure I'm accurate.
That's where I met one of my writers too. I think I was involved in through BIPOC Toronto.
Yes, exactly. Because I believe, yes. Okay, so I see Start with 8 and Start with 8 North. So if you follow any one of those tags, then it will link you to the actual group that runs it. But yeah, I would enlist in both of them.
But Jill is for BIPOC creators, I'm pretty sure, because I had all BIPOC creators.
Yes. That would be with the Canadian portion, but I would sign up for the Start with 8 on the American side as well.
There's a lot of great stuff on the hashtag pre-WGA. There's so much great stuff on there, even though there's a lot, but there's sometimes you run into okay, let's see. There's more.
Oh, and sorry about that question. Start with 8, like don't spell out 8. So start with the actual number 8.
Number 8.
And start with 8 North. Just for that question.
Susan Hung. Hi, Susan. Her question is, how long would you say you worked on your stuff before your amazing 2-year run?
Oh my goodness. First of all, I hate the fact of 2 years. It sounds so short.
Well, I guess almost 3 years now, but most of it happened in 2 years. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. So sorry, the question, like how much writing, how much
Yeah,
drafts? I'm
how much
sorry.
work, how much writing? Because you had a whole other life before writing, right?
Yes, yes. So when did we meet, Danielle? It was 2019.
End of November 2019. Yeah, I had to look it up.
So I was in a writing consultant in Kim's Convenience the year before that.
Yeah.
And then the year before that. So I'd say, like, for example, my script, We Good Right Now, I've been writing since probably 2017, 2016. And I
Amazing.
mean, like, yeah, so that means like, and I put writing in quotations because I mean, I didn't even have final draft yet. So I'm like pretending what a script would look like in Word. I'm like, oh, that looks all set.
I remember it only had 2 acts, and I was like, why does this only?
I said, burn it, Danielle, burn it, burn it, burn the first draft. Invoice me later, ransom me. I don't care, burn it. I thought it was perfect. It was a Grammy award-winning draft in my mind. But yeah, I'm thinking like writing that was like from at least 2016, 2017 to really like, okay, I want to write this. I want it to be a script. I want it to be a screenwriter, not just, because I always was a writer anyways, like,
Yeah.
poems, stuff like that. But when I really zoned in, like, okay, it's TV, script writing, I guess 2016 is when I started writing the script that's currently in development. So
Very good. That's still very fast. I have to say,
yeah,
because I've seen, hundreds of people's careers go and not go, and how fast they went. That's on the faster side for sure. Even if you start with 2016.
yeah.
Yeah, and someone just asked, basically, Via just asked you the same thing. I missed a bunch, so you may have already answered. Did you write before you worked with Daniela? Yeah, yes, she did. And oops, anything else? I think those are all the questions. Any other questions? Oh, Jill, how long before you were thinking about or dreaming about writing and creating, I wonder? How long before that were you dreaming about writing?
First of all, hey Jill, I love Jill. God, that's such a good question. And why is Jill trying to get me emotional? It's so funny how life is, because I've always had it in the back of my mind. I believe, at least since high school, wanting to write. But it's like, I didn't know what that looked like, that life, like, what that career was going to be. I initially thought that it was going to be journalism. So, being a reporter, whatever. And then my parents scared the shit out of me. They're like, oh, you're a Black reporter? They're going to send you to Iraq. I'm like, okay. So yeah, that was their motto. I'm like, they're great. So I dropped that dream then. And then I got pregnant. So that kind of put me in trajectory for somewhere else too. Word up to Jamie. She's watching. That's my daughter. I just had to. But yeah, it's so funny you asked, Jill, because like it literally was in my mind. It's like you put it behind you because you're like, oh, well, I can't create a life out of that. I'm not going to make any money. I can't. What does that look like? Whatever. If you're not looking at those tried and true positions, like I'm going to be, which I ended up being a software developer or a doctor or an engineer or whatever, or a social worker, but like writing wasn't a defined career or role in my mind, but it was always in my mind. It was always has been in my mind. I mean, my English, which I'm so mad that I don't remember her name. I need to look her up before I win the next award or something, because I have to look her up because she told me, I don't want to emotion. In grade 9, she read something I wrote in my media class, and she says, I cannot wait to read one of your, she said books one day. She's like, I cannot wait to read one of your best-selling books one day. And I forget her name. But little things like that were little specks of like, this is what you should be doing, but you do something else because it's safer. You know what I mean? So,
I had a memory that I have to share with you about us.
Yes.
Because it ties into like the whole reason I even do all these courses and all this stuff is that I had, like you, had parents who didn't value the arts and didn't see it as a possible career, because my parents were immigrants too. So they're like, no, get a job, get 3 jobs, just get normal, right? Just
they want you to be safe. They want you to be broke. That's the thing, so I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it's very damaging to our creative anyway. So at one point, I remember because you were assisting me in the script supervision class and you saw like all these script supervisors. And listen, it is a pretty much, if you can crack script supervision, which isn't that hard, I give you guys the key. It's a six-figure career. It's a six-figure career. It is like a sure thing. It's pretty much a sure way to have a career in film. And at one point you said to me, I don't know, should I be a script supervisor? What did I say to you? Do you remember that?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I said, Keisha, no, you are a writer. And I was so
yes. You were so at it. Okay. I remember because I think it was the second day of class. Because I remember I was actually looking at like you guys were I was listening. I'm like, okay, man, this could be my way in. And again, I remember I said this to you, I'm like, maybe because remember I didn't go to film school, maybe this is the way I gotta go in, this is the door I have to go in, and then I can start writing. And I remember that conversation because I remember you're like, this is the only one time that I think you were mad at me. You're just like, no. And you do the same kind of thing. You always pinch your fingers together when you're trying to get a point across, Danielle. I don't know if you noticed that. You're like, no, you are a writer. You did like a pinch thing. I was like,
because I know how many years I got waylaid from writing as a script supervisor. Yeah. I know how, and this is not to diss any of my script supervisors.
No, not at all.
Super creative script supervisors, but I could see so much about to happen for you. It touched that nerve of like when people say do the safe thing. And I was like, you don't need to do the safe thing. You spent decades, and I spent decades doing the safe thing. I know we're younger than that. We spent a decade.
No. Just one.
But you know what I mean? You raised your kids, you did your IT work, now live. This is the time to live your dream. And thank you for doing that. Thank you for like sticking to that. Because a lot of people would have went, no, I gotta be safe. I gotta, you didn't. You went ahead and you doubled down, you tripled down on writing.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely. And I'm very, what's the word I could say? I'm fortunate that I'm able to do that. Like I always sit there, I'm like, I big up like full-time artists, like this is their bread and butter, that this is their way that they have to feed themselves. And I'm not in the position where that is the case right now. So that allows me to be a little bit more ballsy and says, okay, I'm still going to put 100% in this, but it doesn't work out. Like rent can still get paid. My kids can be taken care of. And not everybody has that. So I really consider myself really fortunate, I can sit there and say, oh yeah, I'm going to screw off and I'm going to go do Daniela's course this weekend, as opposed to working. Like I have those opportunities. Because the goal is one day, this will be the full-time gig, so that's the goal.
I think that day is here. And listen, you raised 2 children, so like,
oh my God,
don't forget that part.
They're fine.
Yeah. So let's see if we have any other, Susan says, oh my God, the safe thing resonates. Thank you both for sharing that. And Jill said, whoa, high school. Wow.
Right? Oh, crazy.
Oh, and Susan said, go back up to my other question, read day job. Let's see. Did I miss it, Susan? Oh, yeah, I think so. Hold on. Do you still have a day job? If not, when did you transition out of having a day job, or are you doing all this development work in your spare time?
I still have a 9 to 5. Like I literally, yesterday was my first full day of TIFF. And I literally was working in between sessions.
I saw your Instagram.
And I put my hashtag. I was like, I still got a job. So, but yeah, like a lot of this, and again, because of what I do, I contract. So, and I specifically stayed as a contractor just to give myself more flexibility to say, like, listen, I'm not salaried, so I can say, yeah, I'm not going to be because I'm going to, I'm going to TIFF. Like, I'm going to go do this kind of thing. So, yeah. Still got the day job, so still multitasking between the two of them, and writing's been definitely in free time, so after work, weekends, yeah.
That's inspiring because I actually quit my day job. I do go back. I'm on a show right now to tell the truth, but I announced my retirement last year. Like, so yeah. I'm teaching. I feel like I'm teaching full time, but it's not full time. It's not like working on a film set. If you were a script supervisor, you'd be working, but you would be too exhausted. It's 70 hours a week. So I was so glad you see. This is the thing about Keisha. She takes people's advice and she takes people's notes, No, and not to your own detriment. Like you take
Right.
them and you run with them. So
I do. And I keep on telling people that I'm very lucky because I know it's not going to be all daisies. I mean, there's going to be people out there that are not going to give you the notes that are going to be helping you. You know what I mean? So I'm going to have to look out for that. But I've been really fortunate. I mean, Daniela, you're one. There's some other people that are in my group that are really good at giving me notes and giving me advice that I just don't even question. That's why when 3 hours happen, I'm like, yeah, what hours up? You're like, take it. I'm like, okay. Like you were literally like that was it. Like she said yes. Okay, I'm going. Like okay, so let's do this. You know. So yeah, no, I definitely do. But again, it's that building up those genuine relationships where you know that the advice given to you is for your benefit, right? And
with love, it's given with love. Yeah.
Exactly. But that comes from building that network with no expectations. You know what I mean? And then that's why I love telling the story. I'm like, so I met Daniela and she was cool. We got some stuff together. Great. Then I met Sam. Oh my God. So cool. Oh my God. Then I met Jay. Guess what? It just happened to be that we're cool. Like it literally was that. You know what I mean? So now when you get advice from them, I just don't even question it because I've built up this so fortunate. Anyways, I'm not gonna cry during this whole thing. I got makeup on. This has got to laugh today.
We were like crying all through Female Eye. That was so funny. It was crying.
I know. Oh, that was fantastic. That was an amazing, like, and it's so funny. You never want to discount anything else you've done up to a certain point, but that award. And then I met Jamil, and I mean, I freaking listen.
Oh, that guy. Oh my God, what a writer! Too.
Listen. I don't want to make this whole thing about Jamil, but I cannot wait to work with him. So I'm putting in the atmosphere. It's gonna happen. You know, no pressure, Jamil. He's watching. I have to work with you. But I mean, like that whole I from the reading of the scripts, the feedback, then getting that, like I didn't have to win that award to float out of that experience, but to get that and then to be given to me by you, like I literally thought, I'm like, is God trying to inspire me right now? Am I going to die? Is this how I'm gonna go? Like I just like my heart can't take this anymore. Like this is how I'm gonna go. Like I can't.
It was like such a manifestation thing because they didn't tell me till a minute before. Oh, by the way, Keisha won Fresh Voice, and you're gonna give her the award. I'm like, yes, okay. It was just that I can't even. I don't know what's gonna beat that. You know what I mean? Like the Female Eye, just like that. Anyways, I can talk all day about that one. For people, I mean, there's a whole group of people who know what the Female Eye does for female creators internationally. But if people don't, like, check it out. Enter your stuff. Attend. We still have a few more. Okay, it's 5 minutes. Susan says, how are you doing this in your spare time? You are super.
Oh my God, Susan, you know what? And you know something, I'm glad you asked because again, I don't have young children. You know what I'm saying? So people with young children, like you're crazy. You're a whole other martyr because my kids are big. That's another reason too. The only thing that's more of a challenge is my son's in soccer, but now he's going to be driving. So, but yeah, that was besides work and just trying to have some kind of social life and stuff like that. Driving my son back and forth to Orangeville was crazy, 5 days a week. So yeah, I was pretty much taking my laptop and like, you know, while you're playing soccer, I'm working. Like I basically squeezed every single opportunity to write. When I was living in Ajax and when I was commuting to work on the GO train, like that's really what it is. It's really tough to get something cohesive, but that's all you have, you know? But I will say my children are not young. So I know people who are doing young children. That's a whole other ballgame.
But they might have a partner, hopefully, who's involved in the children, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
That's a whole other thing. Right?
That's a whole other spiel. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, thank you so much. Have a great TIFF. There's more to come from Keisha. There's just going to be so much more to come. I'm so appreciative that you were able I was able to pull you out of TIFF for an hour. I'm just so proud of you, but you know, I knew this day was going to happen. I'm amazed and glad that it came this fast for you. Love you, Keisha.
That's crazy. Yes. No, I love you too, Daniela. And honestly, you're scaring me with your predictions, like literally. So
we still have this one.
I have a list. I have a list for you. I really want Idris Elba. So if you could just throw that.
Oh, that's doable. That is doable. I mean, like meeting Idris getting together, you can that's a doable. I mean, even with Tyler's company, I mean, all of that, you've got it.
Right.
you're in the right place. You're in 3 Arts now.
Oh,
but
that's
I
crazy.
can see you. I can see it. Even the Spike prediction. He's gonna have to get in line. So
I love it. I love it. Love you so much, Daniela. I really do. This is awesome.
I will email you, but have a great TIFF, and I'm sure I'll see you again soon. And even if you're in LA, I'm gonna be there in January, so I'll come visit.
Great. Thanks, guys.